Sometimes the most important inventions are born not from success, but from failure. It was 1903, and French chemist Édouard Bénédictus had just wrapped up a routine experiment in his lab. As he turned to leave, a glass flask slipped from a high shelf and crashed to the ground. But here's the twist. It didn't shatter. Sure, it cracked all over, but the pieces held together, almost as if some invisible force was keeping it intact. What was this mysterious force? A thin layer of plastic cellulose nitrate, a chemical he had accidentally left inside the flask days, or maybe even weeks earlier. The flask was a mess, covered in a spiderweb of cracks, yet it stubbornly retained its shape. Benedictus could have just swept it up and thrown it away like any other broken piece of lab equipment. But something made him pause. He was a scientist, yes, but he was also an artist and composer, a man with a mind trained to see patterns where others saw chaos. He picked up the cracked flask, examining it closely. He realized that the sticky chemical residue had dried to create a tough, transparent film inside the glass. A film that was now holding all the dangerous shards together, even after a significant impact. This wasn't just a broken flask, it was a clue. It didn't prevent the glass from breaking, but it crucially prevented it from shattering into a million sharp, flying daggers. This was no ordinary accident. It was a revolutionary moment, a spark of an idea that would change the world. Just a few weeks after this incident, Benedictus read a newspaper story that would solidify his newfound obsession. The article detailed a car accident where 2 women were severely injured by flying glass from a shattered windscreen. In the early days of the automobile, such injuries were terrifyingly common. Cars were new, exciting, and incredibly dangerous. A simple fender bender could turn deadly not because of the impact itself, but because the fragile glass pans used for windshields would explode into a shower of razor-sharp shrapnel. The story stuck with him. He connected the dots between the horrible injuries described in the paper and his own strange little lab accidents. What if his unbreakable glass could save lives? Inspired, he immediately began to experiment. He took 2 panes of glass and sandwiched a layer of cellulose nitrate between them, then pressed them together to create a single composite sheet. He called his invention triplex. He tested his creation by dropping it, striking it, doing everything he could to make it fail. The glass would crack under pressure, just like the original flask, but the plastic interlayer held the dangerous fragments firmly in place. He had created the world's first laminated safety glass. He was so confident in his invention that he patented it and tried to interest car manufacturers. But at first, nobody cared. The automotive industry saw it as an unnecessary and expensive addition. Why spend extra money on a special windshield when a cheap pane of glass would do? His brilliant, life-saving invention was initially a commercial failure. But the world was changing fast. The brutal reality of World War I created an unexpected demand for his invention. The fragile lenses in military gas masks were a serious vulnerability. A single crack could be fatal. Benedictus's triplex glass provided the perfect solution. It offered the clarity of glass with the shatter resistance needed to protect soldiers on the battlefield. The military began using his laminated glass, and its reputation for safety started to grow. After the war, as cars became faster and more common, the public outcry over glass-related injuries grew louder. By the 1930s, car manufacturers finally came around. Henry Ford, a pioneer in automotive safety, made laminated glass a standard feature in all of his vehicles. The accidental invention had finally found its true purpose, becoming a cornerstone of automotive safety that has saved countless lives since. Despite the monumental importance of his discovery, Édouard Bénédictus never became a wealthy industrialist. He wasn't a savvy businessman, he was a creator at heart. He sold his patent and returned to his quieter life of art, music, and scientific curiosity. He saw a problem, found a solution, and gave it to the world without seeking fame or fortune. Yet his legacy is all around us. It's not just in the windshield of every car, bus, and train. His principle of layered, shatter-proof materials is used in architecture for hurricane-resistant windows, in high-security buildings with bulletproof glass, and even in the screen of the smartphone you might be holding right now. All that safety and innovation started with one clumsy moment and a broken flask that refused to shatter. Today, safety glass is so ubiquitous we barely even notice it. We get in our cars, we walk past storefronts, we tap on our phone screens, all protected by a technology born from a complete accident. We see crash test footage where windshields crack but hold their form, protecting the dummies inside. We see videos of people dropping their phones, and while the screen might crack, it doesn't explode into 1,000 tiny pieces. How often do we stop and think about where it all came from? It wasn't the result of a multi-million-dollar research project. It was one moment of clumsiness, one forgotten chemical residue, and one brilliant mind ready to recognize a mistake not as a failure, but as a breakthrough. Sometimes the most powerful discoveries are hiding in the mess we didn't mean to make. If you love stories about accidental discoveries, weird science, and forgotten geniuses who changed the world, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Snipknow. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite accidental invention? We have new episodes coming for you every single week. Be sure to turn on those notifications because you won't believe what's coming next. Thanks for watching,